Miller High Life, the national champion of quality, presents the World's Championship football game. Hello, football fans. This is Earl Gillespie speaking for the Brewers of Miller High Life, the folks who bring you many a sports thrill on television and radio, and now proudly present this greatest classic in football, on film for your pleasure and in the best interests of clean, wholesome sports entertainment. So if you're ready, let's go with our Miller High Life camera to Briggs Stadium in Detroit. Game time is 1 o'clock. The day, Sunday, December the 27th, the year 1953. The World's Championship of Professional Football is at stake, and a capacity crowd of more than 57,000 spectators add color and excitement to this dramatic game. For the second straight year, the championship battle matches the defending world champions, the Detroit Lions, against the Cleveland Browns. By game time, Cleveland is a slight favorite, but the Lions claim they have the Indian sign on the Browns. In 5 attempts, Paul Brown, Cleveland's brilliant coach, has never been able to turn the trick against Buddy Parker's Lions. Detroit whipped the Browns in 52. Now, who'll it be in 53? Abe Gibran leads the Browns out of the gridiron. Number 65 is right guard Charlie Noel. Lou Groza, Cleveland's place-kicking specialist, will be at left tackle. At right tackle, it's number 78, Johnny Sandusky. Number 88, Darrell Brewster, will start at left end. Danny Lavelli will open at right end. At quarterback, number 14, Cleveland's brilliant passer, Otto Graham. Left halfback, Ray Renfro. Right halfback, Doug Jones. And at fullback, number 32, Harry Jagady. This season, Cleveland won 11 games and lost only 1. For the 4th year in a row, the Browns have battled their way into the playoff game, and now, more than anything else, they want to win the World's Championship. Starting for Detroit will be number 50, Charlie Ani at center, and Harley Soule at left guard. Right guard, number 63, Dick Stanfeld. Oliver Spencer, number 78, will be at right tackle. At left tackle, number 76, Lou Kriegmer. The right end is number 82, Leon Hart. And at left end, number 87, Dorn Dibble. At quarterback, number 22, Bobby Lane. Left halfback, number 37, Doak Walker. Right halfback, Gene Gedman, and at fullback, Bob Hunchy Hornsmeyer. Detroit won 10 of its 12 games this season, and in playoff games, the Lions have never been defeated. Now, for the 3rd time in the 21-year history of the National Football League, Detroit goes after the World's Championship. The co-captains, Warren Lahr and Otto Graham of the Browns, and Lester Bigeman and Doak Walker of the Lions, meet at midfield with referee Ronald Gibbs. Cleveland wins the toss and elects to receive. Crisp football weather fails to chill the excitement and anxiety of the huge throng as kickoff time approaches. And here it is. Bobby Lane kicks off for Detroit. The championship game is underway. The ball is taken by Cleveland end George Young, who slips and falls on the Browns' 23-yard line. An offside penalty pushes Cleveland back to its 18, where Otto Graham pitches out to Harry Jagady, who gets around his right end for a gain of 6 yards. Quarterback Otto Graham fades the pass. He's rushed, hit, and fumbles. Detroit's Lester Bigeman dives on the ball on Cleveland's 12-yard line, and the Lions get the first break of the game. Bigeman, the Lions' 295-pound defensive dynamo, who just recovered that fumble, comes out of the game. In slow motion, halfback Gene Gedman drives outside his left tackle on a crossbuck that's good for 6 yards. Hornsmeyer bangs on the line and picks up 2 more. It's the fullback, Hunchy Hornsmeyer, again carrying and smashing into the Cleveland 3-yard line. On the sidelines, the Detroit bench studies the situation with a fixed stare. That's Bobby Lane, number 22, under center. He hands off to Doak Walker, and Walker bangs into the end zone with the first score in the game. Detroit leads 6-0. And the Lion Rooters whoop it up. Here's that touchdown plunge by Doak Walker in slow motion. Watch the fine blocking of number 83, Jimmy Dorn, the left end, as Walker goes over to score for Detroit. With Bobby Lane holding, Doak Walker will attempt the extra point. There's the snap. Walker kicks, and it's good. So with the game just 4 minutes old, Detroit leads Cleveland 7-0. Later in the first quarter, the Lions are in possession again, deep in their own territory. Lane is thrown in his own 2-yard line, but the Browns are penalized 15 yards in this play for unnecessary roughness. This gives Detroit a first down on its 17-yard line. There goes Lane back to pass. He throws, and it's complete to Jimmy Dorn, who carries for a first down on the Detroit 44. It's 2nd and 10 for the Lions. Lane drops back and flips the screen pass to Hornsmeyer, but the play loses 4 yards as Bill Willis drops Hornsmeyer in his tracks. The Lions would like to hike their lead here, and Bobby Lane is doing his best as he passes complete to Clace Box. But Box is stopped short of the first down on the Cleveland 46, so Detroit will have to kick. Ye O'Leary goes back into punt formation for the Lions. He booms away a good kick. It's taken by Billy Reynolds on the 2-yard line, and Reynolds gets back to the 19 before he is bounced out of bounds. A strong Detroit defense has checked the Browns so far, but Cleveland crosses up the Lions in this trap play that springs Harry Jagady loose for 15 yards. A 15-yard penalty against Detroit brings the ball out to the Cleveland 49, where it's 1st and 10 for the Browns. Cleveland goes to the air as Otto Graham drops back and looks for a receiver. Graham fires. Darrell Brewster tips the ball. Then Billy Reynolds grabs it. It looks like a great play for the Browns as Reynolds races all the way to the Detroit 16-yard line, but the pass is ruled incomplete. For in professional football, 2 eligible receivers are not allowed to touch a forward pass. So now the Browns are faced with a 4th and 10 situation on their own 49. Horace Gillum stands deep in punt formation. Gillum boots. The ball sails into Lion land. And finally comes to rest on the Detroit 6-yard line. The Lions get set to move, but Bobby Lane and Hunchy Hornsmeyer miss connections on a handoff. The ball is fumbled, and Cleveland's Len Ford recovers on the Detroit 6-yard line, giving the Browns their first scoring opportunity. The Cleveland offensive unit jumps into action to see if they can cash in on this break. On first down, Harry Jagady tries to get around his left end. But he's spilled by linebacker Vince Penonis for a yard loss, making it 2nd down and goal to go from the 7 for the Browns. Kenny Carpenter drives into the line, but he's piled up after gaining a yard, and before another play can be run, the first quarter ends with the Detroit Lions leading the Cleveland Browns 7-0. As the second quarter is about to get underway, Cleveland coach Paul Brown uses his signal calling shuttle system as he sends guard Chuck Noll into the game with the play. And here it comes. Graham is going to pass. There it goes. It's no good. Danny Lavelli loses the ball in the end zone, and the pass falls incomplete. Here is a close-up view of that same pass play. Watch closely, and you'll see Lavelli trap the ball and not catch it. It's a tough break for the Browns, as now they have 4th down and goal to go from the Detroit 6. Cleveland, trailing 7-0, elects to go for a field goal. Lou Groza will attempt it from the 13-yard line. The ball is down. Groza kicks, and it's good. The Browns score their first points, but They still trail the Lions by a 7-3 count. Following the kickoff, the Lions attempt to get moving, but on third down, Hornschmeyer is dragged down 3 yards short of the first. So it'll be 4th and 3 for Detroit, and they'll be forced to punt from their own 28. Yale Larry gets away a tremendous kick. It carries to the Cleveland 6. Jim Dorn grabs it and carries it into the end zone. The officials rule this play a touchback. The ball is brought back out to the 20-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Browns. Cleveland trails 7-3, and they like to begin a scoring drive. Dub Jones starts them off as he smacks over the middle to the 28, but he's hit hard by Jack Christensen and fumbles. Detroit's Sherwin Gandy wraps himself around the ball on the Browns' 26, and the Lions are in scoring position. 2 passes by Bobby Lane fall incomplete. Now on third down, Lane goes back to try another. He's rushed hard by Don Colo and Len Ford and tossed for a 12-yard loss back on the 38-yard line. It's 4th down and 22 yards to go, so the Lions call on Doak Walker for a 45-yard field goal attempt. Walker's placement falls far short of the mark and bounds into the end zone for a touchback as Detroit's scoring threat dies, much to the dismay of the Lions bench. An exchange of punts give the ball to Detroit once more. Gene Gedman hits into the middle of the line and picks up 3 yards at the Lions' 22. It's Bobby Lane moving back to throw one. Lane shoots a pass up the middle intended for Jim Dorn, but it's over his head. Cleveland's Ken Gorgel grabs it, but he's pulled down immediately by Dorn on the Cleveland 40-yard line. The Browns call on their hard-running fullback, Harry Jagady, and he answers with a 6-yard thrust through the middle. On third down with 4 yards to go, the Miller High Life slow-motion camera highlights the action as Cleveland's Otto Graham fades to pass. Graham lets go a toss intended for Ken Carpenter. Carpenter leaps, but the ball goes off his fingertips and into the arms of Detroit's Jimmy David. David lights out for Cleveland territory. Watch this key block thrown by number 85, Sherwin Gandy. It helps clear the path for a beautiful 37-yard return by David, who's finally pulled down on the Cleveland 20-yard line, and once more, Detroit is threatening. Follow this play closely, for it proved to be the most disputed play of the game. Bobby Lane pitches out to Doak Walker, and Walker runs wide while looking for a receiver. With everyone covered, Walker passes back to Bobby Lane, who grabs the ball in the 19 and outruns the Browns secondary into the end zone. It looks like a touchdown, but the play was nullified because Lane, as T-formation quarterback, was an ineligible receiver. The play also cost Detroit 15 yards and moves the ball back to the Cleveland 35. Lane makes up that 15-yard penalty right away with a perfect pass to Jimmy Doran. The Lions can't get beyond the Browns' 15, so on fourth down, Doak Walker lines up for a 23-yard field goal try. Walker splits the uprights with his placement. The Lions' lead is increased to a 10-3 count, and Doak Walker has accounted for all 10 of Detroit's points. Bobby Lane kicks off for Detroit. It's a short kick taken by Harry Jagady on the 20. Jagady battles back upfield for 29 yards before being clipped out of bounds just short of midfield. Time is running out in the first half. George Radaman is in at quarterback for the Browns, but the fired-up Detroit line races in and dumps Radaman for a 12-yard loss. Radaman comes back for more as again he fades the throw-in. It's a screen pass that's complete to Jagady. Jagady gets good blocking as he thunders 18 yards to the Detroit 44. The Clock shows very little time remaining to be played. It's 4th down, and Cleveland sends Lou Groza back for a 51-yard field goal attempt. Groza's placement is wide to the right, and it's no good. Seconds later, the gun sounds, and the scoreboard reads Detroit Lions 10, Cleveland Browns 3 at the end of the first half of play in this, the World's Championship game of professional football. During the intermission, the huge crowd is entertained by colorful local Detroit high school bands. Now it's back to the game, and we pick up the play in the second half with Cleveland in possession on the Detroit 49. Otto Graham, who had a tough time of it in the first half, starts the Browns rolling with a 7-yard toss to Billy Reynolds. Reynolds carries the mail this time, and he's good for an 8-yard advance to the Detroit 32. Carpenter slams into the middle and picks up a first down on the Lions 28 as Cleveland threatens. On a quarterback sneak, Otto Graham picks up 3 more yards. It's Graham dropping back to throw. Otto finds his receivers covered, so he carries over left tackle to the 20, where he laterals to Ken Carpenter, and the play is good for 16 yards, making it goal to goal for Cleveland on the Detroit 9. This Cleveland team is fired up now, and they open a gaping hole for Harry Jagady, who romps through the Detroit line and into the end zone, standing up. Cleveland trails now by just 1 point, 10-9. Lou Groza will attempt to even the score by converting. Groza's placement is letter perfect, and the championship game is deadlocked at 10-10. The Browns line up for the kickoff. Lou Groza sends the ball to the Detroit goal line, where it's taken by Jug Gerard. Gerard gets back to the 17, where Sherman Howard stops him cold with a tooth-jarring tackle. Gerard fumbles, and Darrell Brewster recovers for the Browns, but the officials rule that the fumble took place after the whistle had blown. On the sidelines, Detroit coach Buddy Parker appears anxious but relieved over that last call. Detroit puts the ball in play on its own 17. Bob Hornschmar gets free around right end and speeds 16 yards for a first down on the 33. Bobby Lane makes ready to pass. Lane throws. Place box goes down and out and takes it for a gain of 19 yards on the Lions 46. Hornschmar carries on an off-tackle slant and picks up 4 yards to midfield. On a bootleg play, Bobby Lane swings around his left end and into Cleveland territory. But Lane fumbles, and the Browns' Don Colo recovers on his own 41-yard line. Cleveland Rooters yell, "We want a touchdown!" And fullback Harry Jagady starts them on the touchdown trail by banging 8 yards through the middle. This time it's Dub Jones lugging the leather, and he drives through a nice hole for 17 yards and a first down on the Detroit 23. Harry Jagady, Cleveland's most devastating ground gainer, digs for 13 more yards as the Browns bid to break the 10-10 stalemate. Once more, Graham gives the ball to Jagady, and he fights his way to the Detroit 7-yard line. There, the third quarter ends with a score still tied at 10-10. Otto Graham opens the final period by passing into the left flat, but his toss is dropped by Ray Renfro on the 3-yard line. On third down, Graham tries a quarterback sneak, but Laverne Torgerson breaks through and drops Graham at the line of scrimmage. This makes it 4th down and goal to go from the 6 for Cleveland. As the Browns huddle, Detroit assistant coach George Wilson gives instructions to his quarterback Bobby Lane. Then Lane and Wilson stand as the Browns line up for a field goal attempt that, if it's good, will put Cleveland in front. Lou Groza boots, and it is good. Cleveland leads for the first time in the game, 13-10. Lou Groza kicks off to Detroit. The ball is taken 2 yards deep in the end zone by Doak Walker. Walker slips, falls, gets up, but is smothered by the onrushing Browns on the Lions' 5-yard line. Now fans watch closely as our Miller highlight camera picks up one of the most exciting action shots of the game. Lane passes into the left flat where Doak Walker makes the grab. Walker carries for 10 yards before he's stacked up on his 16-yard line. This time, Lane hands off to Gene Gedman, who comes outside his left tackle and a cross buck the net 6 yards. Now it's Lane keeping the ball himself in an option play and getting 6 more yards. That's Bob Hornsmeyer carrying on this play and driving into the Cleveland line for another 6-yard advance. The Cleveland defense bunches to stop the Lions' running attack, so Lane crosses the Browns up by passing 22 yards to Dorn Dibble. Detroit removes all stoppers as Lane opens up the attack with a reverse to Gene Gedman. Gedman carries around left end for 6 yards and then laterals to Doak Walker, who adds 3 more for a first down on the Browns' 30. In 3 downs, the stubborn Cleveland defense yields only 4 yards. So Doak Walker will attempt a 33-yard field goal. The kick has distance, but it's off to the right. It's a touchback, and the ball goes over to Cleveland. The Browns' battering ram, Harry Jagady, bulls his way through the Lions' line for 6 yards. Cleveland leads by 3 points, but they like some insurance, and Harry Jagady carries them 30 yards closer to touchdown territory as he runs for a first down on the Detroit 39. Cleveland coach Paul Brown, still using his shuttle system, sends guard Chuck Noll into the game with a play. It's another trap play with Jagady carrying again and picking up 6 additional yards. On the sideline, the Lions' Bobby Lane keeps his passing arm warm, for with Detroit trailing, time becomes the all-important factor. Cleveland is stopped cold at the Detroit 35, where Groza ties a playoff game record by attempting his 4th field goal that's good. Groza's 3rd successful field goal of the day gives the Browns a 16-10 lead with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left to play. Following the kickoff, the Lions put the ball in play on their own 20-yard line. Lane passes down and out to Jimmy Dorn for a gain of 17 yards. 2 Lane passes fall incomplete, but on 3rd down, the cool Lion quarterback comes through under pressure with a 13-yard heave to Jimmy Doran. Detroit is battling both Cleveland and the clock. Lane is sticking into the air, and again he delivers as he hits twice box for 18 yards and a first down on the Browns' 36. The clock shows less than 3 minutes to be played as Bobby Lane fades to fire another aerial. Lane's going all the way on this one. He has a man open. It's Jimmy Dorn, and he grabs it for a sensational touchdown. Pandemonium breaks loose in Briggs Stadium as Detroit ties the game at 16-16. Let's look at that thrilling touchdown play again in slow motion. Dorn, the right end, is split wide. He streaks straight down the far sideline and gets behind the Browns' Warren Lahr. Dorn grabs the ball right on the goal line for the touchdown. Dorn is a second stringer who is playing in place of the injured Leon Hart. This was Dorn's only touchdown of the season, and what a time he picked to make it. With the game deadlocked at 16 all, Doak Walker slams the ball through the uprights to break the tie and put Detroit on top, 17-16, with just 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining to be played. Leading by 1 point, the Lions kick off. Lane's boot is taken by Kenny Carpenter on the 10-yard line, and Carpenter returns it 18 yards to the Cleveland 28. Cleveland quarterback Otto Graham runs into trouble. Graham's pass is intended for Dub Jones. But it's intercepted by Detroit's Carl Kirillovats. Kirillovats races back to the Browns' 6-yard line, but the officials rule he stepped out of bounds on the Cleveland 34-yard line. That's the last time the Browns get their hands on the ball, as the game ends with the Detroit Lions successfully defending their title of world champions of professional football by turning back the Cleveland Browns in a thrilling, hard-fought 17-16 battle. In winning, Coach Buddy Parker gave credit to the outstanding play of his defensive line, which rushed Cleveland's Otto Graham to such an extent that Graham was able to complete only 2 out of 15 passes. So for the second year in a row, the Professional Football World Championship goes to the Detroit Lions. That's it for another year, fans. Another thriller from Miller, a great American sports championship. Brought to you with the good wishes of Miller High Life, the national champion of quality. The World's Championship football game is a special sports presentation film produced by Miller High Life.